because the gifts and callings of God are irrevocable.
Right. Right.
So whatever God gives you, that's what you're going to have.
Sure.
But what makes that gift will make room for you.
Mm-hmm.
That gift will elevate you.
Yeah.
That gift will take you places. That gift will create real impact and opportunity in your life, right? But some people, their gifts are writing checks that their character can't cash.
Yeah.
And the consequence of that is it'll take them someplace, but their character can't hold up under the influence of their gift. And so you got to elevate your character so that it can support what God's given you.
Hello, and welcome back to Now That'll Preach.
Now that'll preach.
That'll preach, as always. I'm your host, Jared Crowley. I'm sitting across from Pastor David Freck, the one and only. And if you are new to That'll Preach, it is basically a show where we take your topics, your questions, your concerns, and we give them to this guy to preach a little 5-10 minute sermonette on. The only thing that's kind of a little bit quirky and fun about it is that there is no preparation whatsoever.
Yeah.
So when he gets the questions, he gets the questions when you guys see him get the questions, which is as we're starting the episode.
Yeah, that's so far so good, but once again, we'll just see how it goes.
Yeah. Think of just the hardest, most intense questions
you
can.
Yeah, please.
We're trying to stump him, I promise.
No,
I promise.
trust me, you can. It's not hard to do.
All right. So this week's question was someone actually ran up on me on a Sunday morning as I was in the middle of trying to figure some stuff out to ask me this question.
Oh,
because they were that passionate about it.
Okay.
Yeah, but it was one I really liked, and it was can a pure message come from an unpure vessel or an unpure heart?
Okay. Well, Jesus had some things to say about that. He was talking about how the Pharisees had it backwards. The Pharisees were all about not touching unclean things, and if you touched an unclean thing, then you had to go through ceremonial washings to clean yourself up, and because the things that you touched is what made you unclean.
Right.
And Jesus said, no, the unclean comes from within. So the problem isn't what's outside; the problem's what's inside, right? So, to the person's question, is purity of heart critical for a pure message, right? Essentially,
Right.
And I would say it is, but I would also say that the gospel message alone, as it is as pure as it can be, and even an impure vessel operating in the purity of that message can still be effective. So I'm not quite sure what the angle is that the individual's asking the question on, but so probably the best way to say it is, if I give you $1 million, right, which I'm sure you would appreciate.
I would love that.
Yeah. So I give you $1 million, and you receive that $1 million, and you're going to go, buy a house, give to church, do your tithe. You're going to put some money away. You're going to invest. You're going to help some people out. You're going to, whatever you decide to do with it.
Sure.
That money, right, has whatever impact it's going to have on you. Now, does the power of that money change if I got it through, I don't know, some
nefarious
process?
Right.
Does the power of that money?
No, it still works the same way.
It still works for you, right?
Unless the government's involved, then they might.
Well, yeah, but once again, that's more about unless you were aware of what was going on there, you're not really culpable. So therefore, the power of the money is still going to work for you.
Yeah.
So if we see it in that context, then the power of the message is always going to be significant. Now, having said that, can you diminish the effectiveness of a message if there's clear impropriety and imperfection within the vessel? And the answer is yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? So I can, in fact, Paul even talks about how we can make the gospel of none effect by our traditions, by our corruptions, by our, in other words, the message elevates in its impact when there is authenticity
For sure. Yeah.
associated with it.
Right.
Right. And I think you can even hear that.
Yeah, definitely.
I think you can tell when somebody really believes what they're saying,
Yep.
and when somebody's just parroting something.
Yeah. Right.
When it's just kind of their go-to,
Mm-hmm.
or when it's really coming out of real authenticity, real
Totally.
sincerity,
Yeah.
real passion. It's been, it's them. It's
Yeah.
in them.
Right.
So there's not a clear and steadfast
Right.
answer to it. Outside of the gospel message has its power.
Yeah.
Where it diminishes its effectiveness
Mm-hmm.
is when there's clear corruption or impurity on the part of the person releasing it.
Right.
And then does it corrupt the message? No, but it corrupts the way it's received by the people that are hearing it.
Yeah.
The message is still pure.
Right.
But because it's being delivered through
Yeah.
quote unquote a corrupt messenger, then its impact can definitely be diminished.
Yeah,
Because well, why should I believe that when you don't even believe
For
it?
sure.
Why should I believe that
Right.
when you don't even live
You're
it?
not. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that's why that's the one thing I really pound when I do minister training and stuff like that. I really talk about gifts and gifts and character, and because the gifts and callings of God are irrevocable.
Right.
So whatever God gives you, that's what you're going to have.
Sure.
But what makes that gift will make room for you. That gift will elevate you.
Yeah.
That gift will take you places. That gift will create real impact and opportunity in your life, right? But some people, their gifts are writing checks that their character can't cash.
Yeah.
And the consequence of that is it'll take them someplace, but their character can't hold up
Right.
under the influence of their gift. And so you got to elevate your character so that it can support what God's given you.
Yeah.
And it's really important for us. Now, none of us are perfect,
Sure,
but it's
right.
really important for us to strive for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
To strive for that purity, to strive for that sincerity,
Yeah.
to strive for that
Right.
authenticity, and to have the character
Yeah.
that doesn't diminish
For sure.
what we
Yeah.
preach, what we say.
I think impact is the key word there, like for sure, because it is like, and that's why I like this question so much, because you can kind of go down either answer, like go down the lane of either answer of yes or no, because at the same time we all are impure. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing that we're ever going to do to be totally pure. You know what I mean? That's why Christ did what he did and why he exists. Exists.
Well, and the
Impact is-
context of your personal morality might relate to and say, well, he's just a religious nut,
Right,
and he doesn't value that. Therefore, you could preach a message, but because he sees you as coming from a religious paradigm,
Right.
he might not receive it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Or just the opposite.
Right.
They could be like, well, if you don't have any real commitment to it, then why should I believe it?
Right,
So
right.
you're always working through those filters.
For sure.
That's why the Holy Spirit's the one that makes it work.
Exactly. Right.
I want to align with that
Yeah.
in my character as much as I can.
Right.
And by His grace and by His empowerment, I want to align with that. But the message, I am not ashamed. This is what Paul said, Romans 1:16. I am not ashamed of the gospel because it, not the vessel,
Right.
it is the power of God
For
unto
sure.
salvation to all who believe, to the Jew first and also to the Greek. So it is the message, the gospel has all the power.
Yeah. Right.
And it becomes elevated in its effectiveness from the one who receives it when the vessel is pure and authentic.
Absolutely.
Right. And it can become diminished, at least from the person that's receiving it, if the character of the individual doesn't align with the message. For sure.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think that's the best way we can answer
Yeah.
it.
No, I thought that was great. Yeah. I really enjoy that insight.
Cool.
All right. Well, thank you, sir. Appreciate it as always.
Keep them coming, guys. We appreciate it. We're getting a lot of great response in relationship to this little program.
For sure. Yeah.
And we'd also like your little insights on what you think would make it better.
Yeah, absolutely. We welcome any and all suggestions, comments, inquiries. Yeah, for sure.
So keep them coming. It's my pleasure, and I'm not. Trust me, I'm not trying to dance around answers. I'm just trying to be as
Yeah.
honest as I can with
No,
them.
I
so.
think you're totally doing that. I think anybody that's doubting that probably should check themselves a little bit.
All right.
All right. Well, we love you guys so much. Be sure to tune in next week, and we'll see you guys later.
All right.
That'll preach.
That'll preach.